Hey, Al, I just realized that I have this list up here and I keep referencing this list of the stages of business growth, but I've never really taken the time to describe to you what they mean. So this is going to be a reference video that I will refer people back to all the time. I was on a chat with somebody and I asked him, what stage are you in your business growth? And I didn't have something to point him to say, here's the different stages. So let me clarify for you what these are. The idea stage is the earliest stage. It's when you're kind of going, hey, I would like to be an entrepreneur. I would like to serve a population, but I don't know exactly who that population is or what they need. But I want to do it. I want to serve. I got a calling in my life. And so then you identify who that population is that you want to serve. Hey, Brad. Oh, good to have you on board, man. Thank you. You find a population first. This is really the better way to do it. Find a population that you want to serve and figure out then what they need through an iterative process of empathizing with them, trying to figure out, see the world through their eyes, see what problems that they have, and then get feedback from them on what those real problems are. Try and identify some solutions, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through all the detail of what happens here, but there's a methodology, an approach called design thinking that works really well at this stage, where you get in and you're helping that customer uncover what their actual needs are. And they may not even know. My microphone a little closer here. So once you have an idea that you think might be useful to your customer, and they've told you, yeah, that would be good, that's a good thing, we'd like to have that, then you move from idea to startup. Now, startup, you're still not in the process of making money yet. The point of the startup stage is to validate that this is actually, the idea that you came up with here is actually something that people are going to want to pay money for. Right? You can't have a business if nobody pays money for it. And maybe you're a not-for-profit, and that's fine. You still have to have enough money to be able to provide the service for your ideal customer. So startup is all about testing things with something that's called an MVP, and people screw up what an MVP is over and over again. I'll put a link to my video on what an MVP is, but it's not what you think it is, probably. So you put a minimally viable product together and you test that thing to see if it's really what your customers want. And if it's not, then the phrase they use in the startup world is pivot or persevere. It's the question you ask at the end of each cycle. Do we pivot or persevere? Keep on the same track, or are we going to go a different way? This stage, the idea stage, is pivot until you find something that sticks, and then you go here and you're pushing a little longer and you're asking, do we persevere? Do we pivot? If you pivot, you may end up going back up here to idea stage and redoing that. But that's what happens in the startup stage. The output of this stage, idea stage, is an idea. It is something to test in the startup stage. The output of the startup stage is validated learning. You want to validate that people are going to pay for this thing, that what you thought it was the right thing, and you want to test, this is important, you want to test the highest risk factors that are in that startup stage. So what are the things that are possibly going to hinder you as you go to growth? Is it a technology problem? Is it a new business model that you're testing? Is it a new business market that you're going into? What is it? What is the most risky thing? So one of the first things you do in the startup stage is you do an analysis of what's the highest risk stuff that we've got going on in this business, in this idea that we've got. So once you leave the startup stage, you actually have a few people giving you some money. Not much, but a few people are providing you a little bit of income. Probably doesn't pay for itself. That's why startups are often, you talk about round A, round B funding, blah, 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 blah. This is where all that funding is happening because they're trying to get to know, can this thing scale? Will it work? And then once you validate that idea and validate the risk or mitigate the risks that you've identified, then you move to the growth stage. And the growth stage is when you expand and you hopefully you hockey stick, right? You have this, and this is a big investment stage as well, because you're expanding the population of people that are working on your product, because you are expanding your market. So this is all a lot of sales and marketing and product development. This was product identification, but the thing that you built here probably wasn't scalable. If it was scalable, you probably spent too much time working on it, and you've wasted time that you could have been using in the growth stage. So be careful about the startup stage. I'll go through each one of these separately in a separate video. Growth stage, you are building the real thing. You are building, first you start out with the minimally marketable feature set, an MMF, not an MVP, an MMF. Okay, so then you start building on top of that, and you iteratively and incrementally build it out and grow this thing until you've got lots of people and you're starting to dominate the market and things are rocking and rolling. And then you think, okay, it's about time. It's time that we expand. And how do we expand? You move from growth to expansion stage. And the expansion stage is where you go, okay, we're going to expand our product line. There's a complementary product that we have been hearing about from our customers that we should be building. And so this is the thing that we're going to build. We're going to build a complementary product. Or there's another market, another population of people who we could be serving. And so let's go serve those people. Or there's another geographic area. So you've covered North America, now it's time to go to South America, or now it's time to go to Europe, or now it's time to go to Asia. Where you expand depends on what your constraints were as you were building this thing. And you expand and you expand, and who knows how long expansion can take. Maybe you're doing acquisitions here, you're buying other companies that are similar or complementary products. This could last years. This could last years, and this could last years. Then you reach a maturity stage, and at the maturity stage, things are just kind of humming along and running like clockwork. You've got the systems in place to make, systems are all through this. You need systems to make each one of these go without blowing your mind. Because if you are at the idea stage and you don't then put systems in place that will support your startup stage, you won't be able to get to your startup stage. Again, from startup stage, you need to then, you start up kind of chaotic, and then you put the systems in place that allow you to go to growth stage. And growth stage, you put systems in place that allow you to go to expansion stage. Because each one of these by themselves are an effort. And without the systems, your effort won't be able to produce. So then you've expanded and you've got systems in place that are making it work, and you're global, international, and you're serving all kinds of people. Now you're at maturity stage, things are just humming along, it's running like clockwork. Maybe you're thinking about exiting. Maybe you're thinking about going public. Maybe you're thinking about selling the business, being acquired. Who knows? Whatever your plan is for your business, if you have built a business, you have the opportunity to exit that at a high multiple valuation of the business. So those are the 5 stages of business growth, and I'm going to use this video a lot. So if you want to learn more about those kinds of things, please just message me on this platform. I would love to chat with you about it, where your business is in the stage, how I can help you with the systems. That's what I do. I'm a systems guy, right? Systems that help you move from one stage to the next stage. Okay, we've got our idea. Now we want to really, really test it. We've got our testing done. Now we really, really want to grow it. This is what I do. So I'd love to help you with that. If you want to, just message me on this platform and we'll have a chat. Thanks for being on this video, and I appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. End live video.